Stop looking at the stock price for a second and listen to what the market isn't telling you. We are being sold a dream, and while the numbers on the screen look incredible, there's a massive gap between Jensen Huang's stage presence and the reality of what's happening on the ground. We're seeing a $500 billion revenue backlog, a $4.5 trillion valuation, and a CEO who says the future is already here. But if we look at what Elon Musk just dropped on X, the entire Nvidia story for 2026 starts to look like a very expensive trap. We've all seen the headlines from CES. Jensen stood on that stage and unveiled the Rubin architecture, 6 new chips, 50 petaflops of power, and a promise of 10 times lower costs. It sounds like a slam dunk. But less than 24 hours later, Elon Musk, the man who is currently spending billions to build the world's largest AI supercomputers for xAI and Tesla, threw a bucket of ice water on the hype. He didn't just disagree with the timeline, he gave us a specific number: 9 months. Musk claims it will take at least 9 months for the Rubin hardware to run at scale and for the software to actually work. Now, you might ask why that 9-month gap matters. It matters because Nvidia is currently priced for perfection. The market isn't waiting for 2027. It's betting that Rubin starts printing money by the second half of 2026. But if the world's biggest customer is telling us the tech isn't ready for prime time, we have to ask ourselves, who is lying? Let's dig into the first reason why we think Musk is right. It's a technical bottleneck that almost nobody in the retail space is talking about: the 800-volt barrier. Rubin isn't just a faster chip. It's a complete fundamental shift in how data centers eat power. To run these Rubin clusters, you can't just plug them into a standard rack. You need a total infrastructure overhaul, switching from 54-volt distribution to 800-volt DC power. We've looked at the data on global data center readiness. The vast majority of Tier 1 facilities are still struggling to cool the Blackwell chips we bought last year. Upgrading a gigawatt-scale data center to 800 volts isn't something you do over a weekend. It takes permits, massive copper requirements, and months of specialized engineering. Jensen can ship the chips today, but if the buildings aren't ready to power them, those chips are just very expensive paperweights. This is exactly what Musk is seeing on the front lines of xAI's Colossus expansion. And that leads us to the second red flag: Musk's own wallet. If Rubin was the Blackwell killer that Jensen says it is, why is Musk still placing massive $10 billion orders for the older Blackwell architecture? Think about it. If you knew a car was coming out in 6 months that was 10 times cheaper and 5 times faster, would you go out and buy 100,000 of the old model today? Of course not. Unless, of course, you knew that the new model wouldn't actually be useful for another year. Musk is playing a high-stakes game of compute chicken. He knows that in the AI race, having reliable compute today is better than having theoretical compute tomorrow. He is betting that the transition to Rubin will be messy, that the software will be buggy, and that the supply chain will hit a wall. He's choosing the bird in the hand, while the rest of Wall Street is chasing the Rubin bird in the bush. But here's where it gets dangerous for us, the investors. We've seen this pattern before. When a company reaches a multi-trillion-dollar valuation, the expectations become impossible to meet. Nvidia is no longer a growth stock. It is the entire market. If Jensen misses a single quarterly revenue target because Rubin deliveries are delayed by even 3 months, the fallout will be catastrophic. We're already seeing cracks in the armor. Did you catch that $4.5 billion charge Nvidia took recently for excess H20 inventory? That was a massive hit that most analysts glossed over. It shows that even Nvidia can misread demand. If they misread the Rubin transition the same way, we are looking at a massive inventory glut by the end of 2026. We need to be honest with ourselves. We want Nvidia to win because it drives the entire tech sector. But ignoring a 9-month scaling warning from the guy who is actually building the supercomputers is how people lose their shirts. The Rubin trap isn't about the technology being bad. The tech is revolutionary. The trap is the timeline. It's the gap between in production at a factory in Taiwan and operational at scale in a data center in Texas. So, where does that leave us? We're watching a showdown between two titans. On one side, you have Jensen Huang, the master salesman who has never missed a beat. On the other, you have Elon Musk, the skeptical engineer who is actually dealing with the power grids and the software bugs. If Musk is right, the next 2 quarters of 2026 are going to be the most volatile in Nvidia's history. The thinking AI era is coming, but it might not arrive on the schedule Wall Street has promised. We aren't saying sell everything and run. We are saying it's time to take off the rose-colored glasses and look at the infrastructure reality. I want to know where you stand on this because we're seeing a massive split in the community right now. Do you trust Jensen's vision of immediate dominance, or are you siding with Musk's 9-month reality check? Drop a comment below and let us know. Are you Team Musk or Team Jensen? This isn't just a fanboy debate, it's a trillion-dollar question that will define your portfolio for the next 2 years. If you found this breakdown helpful, we're doing this every week, digging into the data that the mainstream financial media ignores. We don't care about the hype, we care about the visibility wall. Make sure you're subscribed to Logic Map so you don't miss our next deep dive into the 2026 AI supercycle. We'll see you in the next one.